Evening once again. If everybody will take their seats, we're going to move into our council meeting. I would like to call to order the Wednesday, August 21st, 2013 council meeting to order. This evening, there will be invocation by Pastor Steve Miller, pastor of Christ Fellowship Church, Homestead Campus, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be given by Councilman Shelley. Would you all please rise?
Let's pray together. Well, God of heaven and earth, we acknowledge that you are our maker and our creator, and you are the one who has gifted us and empowered us to be in the positions that we're in. And God, we just confess that we're quick to think that we run our own lives, when the truth is you are the one who is in control, and you are the one who is working good in our world. And so, God, tonight we ask that you would help us, as we seek to lead and to serve so that this city could flourish and grow, so that children who don't have fathers would see that this is a city where they're cared for and where other men step in to care for these children. God, that our schools would be a place of great education where teachers would be empowered and strengthened to lead and to educate, so that our schools would be known as leaders in this community. God, we long for Homestead to continue to grow and to flourish and to be a place of life, of joy, of happiness, of hope. Jesus, thank you that you gave your life for us, to forgive our sins, to unite us again back to the God of the universe. And Lord, I pray that as we take ownership for our city, that we would lead and serve in such a way as Jesus has, to sacrifice our wants for the sake of others, to be willing to lay our lives down for others. God, what a beautiful city we live in. What great diversity as we look around, even this room tonight, and see so many cultures and nationalities and backgrounds and histories. And God, we pray that you would bring us all together to be united, to see that we want to see our city grow and to see life and health flourish here in this city. So would you do that? We cannot do that on our own. We cannot build a great city on our own. We need your help. So would you help us tonight? Thank you for the men and women who sacrifice so many hours and so much time and so much effort to lead our city. So would you help them tonight? We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. And thank you to the police explorers. I left you out, not intentionally, because you do a wonderful job. Pastor Miller, thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. We're going to start tonight. The first item on the agenda, of course, we're going to do roll call first. Roll call once again, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Waldman? Here. Councilwoman Bianco-Woman?
Here.
Councilman Shelley?
Here.
Councilman Williams?
Here.
Councilman Maldonado?
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Here.
Mayor Bateman?
Here. Okay, we're going to move into public comment. And the public comment, City Clerk has informed me, will be 2 minutes tonight. And please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
Greetings.
My name is Reverend Dr. Joseph G. Sewell, 1498 Southeast 25th Avenue, Homestead, Florida. Greetings, Mayor, Council, staff. I am Reverend Dr. Joseph G. Sewell, and I'm running for mayor of Homestead. I'm running for mayor because I believe in Homestead. I believe in the integrity of Homestead, and that this great city can be the most vibrant and livable city in America. And I believe that the voice of the people matters. Since I started my campaign, I have had the pleasure of meeting small business owners, teachers, parents, employees within our community. They have educated me about the issues that matter most and helped me develop solutions to the problems we face every day. Working hand in hand with the council and city manager, I will provide smart government leadership by implementing this council's priorities, delivering exceptional services, projects, and programs to all citizens of Homestead. We can do this. Since we only have 2 minutes, I believe a great city has a strong regional economy with good jobs for all residents, a strong, robust economy, and the ability to grow and attract good-paying jobs will allow our children to remain and raise their families in Homestead. This is the result of many factors: a competitive and educated workforce. Homestead must be a good place to do business, high-quality local infrastructure, a smart grid for our power plant, and a viable sewage treatment plant to support the new growth of our city, access to technology, research and development, access to capital. I thank you for this. Pray for me, and I ask for your support.
Thank you, Mr. Sewell.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, City Manager. My name is Yvonne Knowles. I'm the Chair of the Centennial Steering Committee. We're back to review one last time the discussion we had earlier at the Cal meeting regarding the October 5th Centennial Book Fair. We went back to committee. We understand the direction we got from the Mayor and Council was to have the event at the community center. So we squeezed the numbers and ran through the pros and cons on the committee level. Centennial Committee is comprised of 7 members, all chosen by you as your representative to deal with issues regarding the Centennial. Real quickly, I passed out a little cheat sheet for you to kind of give you the issues that are important to either location. Of course, if we're doing a book launching party about the Centennial of Homestead, it would make a lot of visual impact to have it in the historic district of Homestead, where so many of the buildings played a major part in the history of Homestead, which the 2 authors will be speaking to. So that's one thing that the committee felt very strongly about. The other issue that was brought up was the issue of parking. We really would like to have a large turnout for this. The idea of having 400 to 500 people coming. We are going to have a cooperation with Kiwanis. They're going to be giving out 1,000 children's books that day. We're also going to have, we just found out that the Miami-Dade Public Library is interested in working with us on this project, so there would be a place for them also. And although we've laid this out, and I know how it would look, as we start thinking about vendors and the Kiwanis and the library and all the 20 authors inside here, all of a sudden we started thinking about parking and placement. So the committee would like to have you revisit the idea of Lobster Park as a location. But we will work with whatever you decide. We have a scenario for both, as you can see on that layout. And I have Mrs. Campbell here who would like to say a few words.
Good evening.
There you go.
Who thought that we would be using this building for what we're using it today? Isn't it great?
Beautiful.
Without planning or anything. Of course, I'd like to have the event downtown. It's where it all started. and where it's happening today. And the museum is reflective of everything that we've done and are doing. And we're always open anytime there's an event downtown. And it's what I'm looking forward to. And whatever you all decide, we will do the best that we can.
So,
I'm just here.
comment from Ms. Campbell. Comment from Ms. Campbell. So what you're really saying, Ms. Campbell, is that you really prefer it downtown. Is that what you're
Yes, sir.
saying?
Yes.
And-
I prefer it's downtown.
Yeah, and that's just, and the main reason is because that's where it started? That's
Yes.
what you originally
yes.
said?
It's all right there. And with the book launching and the book with it, it's the right place.
Hey, Mayor,
Yes.
this is just a procedure question to Yvonne. Is there any reason why why it's not on the agenda so we can have discussion other than public comment that you would raise this issue why it wasn't on the agenda procedurally? Because I think at the last meeting, yes, you.
Yeah.
Because I think at the last meeting, it was on the agenda, we were able to dialogue about it. Is that?
Yes, sir. I did ask to have a card, but I was told to speak at public comment.
Yes, I'm sorry, Ms. Wallman.
I was all for having it here, but for those of you that don't know, but Ms. Campbell, she's the boss of this city. I believe the
Amen.
mayor has made her the honorary mayor for life, and if she runs that museum down there, and I told her, I said we were only thinking about the heat and you know, trying to make it more comfortable for you, but as far as I'm concerned, Ms. Campbell wants it downtown, that's where it needs to be, so.
Well,
and
thank you, Ms. Wallman. That's beautiful. I agree. I second that.
Thank you, and it's getting cooler every day.
Hold on one second. Any other comments from council? Yes, please, Mr. Shelley.
Yeah, I've had a chance to speak with Yvonne and Ruth as well, and I agree. I think for purposes of a bigger event, a better event, so that you're drawing from both those who want to be there for the food trucks and those who want to be there for the book fair, that you'll have something to keep people in their place. Where here it gets spread out and kind of disjointed, and it becomes almost like two separate events, and so I agree. I think downtown is the place for it, and I think it'll be a better event because
Boy, what a reaction.
people will come for the book fair, but also stay for the trucks, and so there'll be more people there at any one given time, and I think it'll be a better event overall. So I think that's a good choice.
Thank you.
Further questions from council?
Yeah, just a comment.
Yes, please.
I agree with Councilman Wallman. I think we're being considerate
Yes,
in
very.
suggesting that we have it here, but I definitely support your rationale that you laid out here, and I back you wholeheartedly as liaison for the Centennial Steering Committee, so I support downtown.
We're going to have a great time.
Any further comments? For all of you who don't know, Ruth Campbell served 20-plus years on the city council. She just had her 93rd birthday.
And Mayor, one little fact, she was the first female vice mayor ever in the city of Homestead.
Picture of her at the table. Yeah, it's good. It's considered.
We're good.
All right. Bless. All right. Thank you so much for all you do.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and residents and all the children that are here in the public. My name is Nazi Sierra. I live in 2611 Northeast 41st Place. I am coming here tonight to let you know, if you don't already know, that I am running for my former seat for the City Council. It's seat 5, known also as the Waterstone Malibu Bay seat. I just really want to have an opportunity to complete the work that I did while I was on council in those 2 years, from 07 to 09. And given the opportunity to run again, I just had to do it. If I didn't do it, I wouldn't be happy with myself for the rest of my life. Another thing I would like to mention this evening is that on September 6th, I am hosting a fun festival for children. It is a free event. It's going to be held at the Keys Gate Charter Golf and Country Club, not the charter school, at the Golf and Country Club, right out front. We're going to have vendors, food trucks. We're going to have a kids fun zone, so you guys need to come out there and have a good time. It also gives us an opportunity to get to know each other better if we don't already do. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and I want to thank you for the birthday card you sent my wife.
Oh, yes.
You were ahead of me.
And I put a happy face, too. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman.
Go ahead and push that up, will you? So it's closer to you. You got to get real close to that mic.
Okay, thank
There
you,
you
Mayor.
go. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Council, people, City Manager, and staff. My name is Sam Porco, 14751 Southwest 252 Street, Homestead. I'm with the Youth Fishing Foundation. We're hosting an event out at the Homestead Miami-Dade Speedway this Saturday morning from 9 to noon. Our partners on this is the City of Homestead and Homestead Miami Speedway. Then we're going to transport the 120 to 150 children, their parents, and our volunteers inside. It's on a lake just outside Gate 18, which is where the tunnel is. We're going to transport them into the interior to the pit area of the track, and at that same afternoon, there is a race going on so that the children and their family will be able to watch the car race, compliments of the Speedway. What I would like to ask you to consider at this point is to waive the fee for the use of 2 trolleys from noon to 1 to transport the children and their parents. And we have children from ages 5 to adults 84 years old. So some of the young children have medical issues, and some of us that are up in years have some other issues. So we would like to rent or have you waive the rental, which as I understand is $83 an hour. Two trolleys from that 1 hour from 12 to 1 o'clock in the afternoon this Saturday. And then we'd like to have one of the trolleys there until 3 o'clock. If that is not feasible, then we are willing to pay the $83 an hour for the trolley. Thank you for your consideration.
Yes, Mr. Shelley.
Just real quick, just for full disclosure, I sit on the board of directors and treasurer for this particular organization, so I have to declare a conflict during public comment while you guys debate this. So let me know when you're done.
Mayor.
Yes,
Well, I had a discussion with Mr. Brea this morning about the use of trolleys and how we can use them, because there's an event that's going to be coming here in October that was looking for transportation one night. And if we're, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Brea, but if we're a sponsor of this, then we can use the funds that are allocated towards this for this. Is that correct?
If the city's a sponsor of the event, then the city can use city funds for it. If it's one of the ones, if it's a city event per se.
So
you know, in any other particular case, we are bound by either the rules from the PTP fund, which is a half-penny sales tax, which only allows us to use it for public purposes. But if entity wants to pay for the use of them, I'm sure we can come up with something that would work. But it would not be using city funds or grant funds for it.
Further questions from council?
Yeah, Mayor, I don't have a problem with it, with what they're asking. I just want to put it on record. If we do this tonight,
Amen.
we're going to open up the door
I just got turned down.
for other organizations to come in, say that they want to have sponsorship for our trolleys to use in their event. I don't have a problem supporting it, but I just want to say, because you're going to have other organizations coming to do the same thing.
Get ready. Sure.
Can you hear me?
No.
No?
Test. Mine's going down. My radio went up.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Not barely, huh?
Test,
Do
test,
we
test.
even have the trolleys available? That's my question.
You just read my mind. I was just about to state that we only have one trolley that we could use for a event like this. So the request for having two trolleys working at the same time, that would not be able to be, that we couldn't meet that request because we need to have, during Saturdays and Sundays, we have trolley services throughout the city that we need to use the other two trolleys for. So that would only allow us to have one trolley to be able to be used for an event, not two simultaneously.
And would it be possible, I mean, I understand where Mr. Williams is coming from, but would it be possible, because we are sponsors, to offer it at a discounted rate, the one trolley? Would the one trolley help you, Dr. Porco?
Yeah, we can manage with one trolley. The track also has a trolley of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
This morning we were talking about forming a convoy. We have 125 to 150 children. That means we have that many cars, plus another 50 or so volunteers. So my main concern, and I knew I was going to open up a can of worms asking you to waive this. This isn't my first rodeo. But we would appreciate if you would allow us to rent the one trolley. We have people coming from Pembroke Pines to Key Largo, and I think it would also behoove the city if they see that we have some trolleys here. They have them in Coral Gables and all these other fancy places. So yes, we would be delighted to pay I heard the fee was about $83 an hour.
Is that the fee, Julio?
Correct, that is correct.
If we could allow to have that one, and I'll try to twist the arm of the folks out at the track tomorrow to see if they will put their resources to use also.
Would it be...
We don't want anyone to get hurt. Our main goal is to have a great time with the kids and their parents and be safe at the same time.
Is the trolley available on that day?
The trolley there is one trolley available.
And would this council entertain maybe a discounted rate, because we are a city sponsor and they are willing to pay something? Why can't we?
Absolutely. I don't.
Legal standards on what the price is.
Can we discount it?
That's at the discretion of council. As long as we're not using grant monies for it, it's at the discretion of council how they want to use, how they want to.
Okay, so that would be my suggestion, Mayor, too, to offer it as a discounted rate.
Well, we just came up, this happened to us 2 meetings ago, and we're kind of like defeating what we said. We've donated and donated and donated all year, and now it's time to stop donating because we've over-donated. So why don't we step up ourselves and help you? I'll donate 100 towards it, and council members can step up as they do, because if you set this precedence, I'm telling you, I'm going to vote every time to allow it to happen. And I just think that you're going to see it's going to open to Pandora's box to the point where you'll wear one of them out. And we just recently told 16 high school students we've donated too much. So how do you do that now and then turn around and do this? So I don't get it. So I'd rather donate.
Mayor, I'll donate $100 as well.
I donated this morning. He doesn't know it yet, but I did.
So if others do as well, I'm sure you're going to take care of.
Through the mayor?
Yes, please.
I agree. I believe there has to be a standard of uniformity, and I'm all for uniformity. And I thank you so much for being understanding and considering the position that we have to take on this. And I was also going to propose to just assist them by donating, and I'd be more than happy to personally donate toward this event.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of y'all that have supported us over the years. This is our 18th year, and we appreciate your support. Everything that we do is free to the children and their parents. We're the only group I know in the state of Florida that does that, and God willing, we'll continue to do that. Thank you very much.
Just before you leave, Sam, as I said earlier, the auction, he has an auction every year, and one of the items auctioned off was a registered Labrador Retriever. Well, yours truly bought it, right? I ended up with it. It went from 15 pounds to about 65 pounds over the last 7 months here, so, and we named him Sam.
Thank you for that honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor? Mayor, I need some clarification regarding the time period that they're requesting the trolley for, because I understand that there were 2 sets of times that he mentioned.
Julio, can you get with him? He's in the back of the room now. Can you go and
Dr.
deal with
Porco? Dr. Porco?
Paging
Doctor.
Dr. Porco.
You want to let him know to get with Julio?
Sam?
Paging Dr. Porco. We're still on
The hours of operation?
9 in the morning till noon is the fishing. 12:30 to 1:30 is lunch, and then as long as they want to stay to watch the race.
The use of the trolley? The times?
The use of the trolley?
Yes, sir.
From noontime to 3 o'clock.
Okay,
3
we got it.
hours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
See, you got 400 out of us.
500.
500. You got 500 out of us for, roughly.
And I would come here more often.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That mean no more rum cakes, Dr.
Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, Chief Roll. My name is Richard DiBenedetto. I live in the Redlands, and I'm here in reference to an issue I brought up 2, maybe 3 times last year in front of the City Council in reference to soccer fields having to be in an indoor building with 4 enclosed walls. City was supposed to be working on it. I heard something that it would be resolved by June, maybe July, and nobody really responds to me. And bottom line is, from the little bit that I've got, maybe next year.
Okay.
I just wonder if anybody could say anything.
Sure,
to me.
sure. Who were you dealing with?
Judy Waldman's office. And basically and I'm not saying anything against Judy, she's working for charity, and maybe she's got too much going on with that, and somebody else can handle this, because I don't mean anything.
No, we're working.
But I called her office, Heather, which is a sweetheart. She said to me, well, this, that, and I says, well, I'm going to city council meeting on Wednesday, and for the first time in probably 8 months, I got a call back from her. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm up here bringing it up to your attention. If there's nothing we can do, well, then we'll just scrap it.
And yeah, this is about the use of a piece of your property
Yes, sir.
as a soccer field.
Well, not only the use of my property, but nowhere in the city of Homestead is anybody allowed to have a soccer field unless it's enclosed in an indoor building with 4 walls, which is, I don't know, I kind of think that's ridiculous, period.
Yeah. Why, did you ever find out, Mr. Manager? Joe?
Yes, sir, what's that?
Why do we have 4 walls around a soccer field? I'm kind of confused.
I don't know, I didn't write it, so
Could this council help you fix it?
That's what we're doing. We're rewriting we're making amendment to the code that we are just about completed with. We should be bringing it to the committee of the whole, the next available committee of the whole, so that you all can review it. If it's adequate, we didn't want to bring it straight to council, so we'll bring it to committee of the whole. Committee of the whole, if you want to pass it through there, we'll go to the next council meeting and have it ready. We're just about ready to bring it to you.
So your efforts did not go in vain.
Mayor, may I?
Thank you very much.
Ms. Wallman, you can answer.
And I just want to tell you, Richard, that it's a process, and Joe, later, maybe you could take the time and explain to Richard as to what the process was and how much it entailed. But Dennis and I and Joe, I brought it up in
Yes,
front of
ma'am,
the
I'm not
dais,
disputing that,
I
but
know, but I
I
feel
am
bad.
entitled to
I
at
know.
least somebody answering my questions or
Yes.
returning my phone calls or answering my emails. I mean, I do think that I'm at least entitled to that, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not...
Well, I only got one. I was only delivered one message, so.
Okay.
So, and we followed up and got back to you. So, but Joe, if we can make it happen as soon as
Yes, ma'am,
possible.
we're working on it, and for the record, we've each time we've received the call, we've returned the call and returned all the emails, and so we've been as responsive as he's needed us to be.
And we'll make sure to let Mr. Di Benedetto know when it's coming forth.
Absolutely.
Okay,
We'll
thank
touch
you.
base with you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, and hopefully I won't see you next year.
Thank you, Richard. Good evening.
The first time I'm going to ask for an excuse. Being a U.S. citizen with this
A
year.
little closer to the mic.
He doesn't feel like he's ready to speak.
Can you step closer to the mic? There you go.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, no. Repeat again. No, no, no.
Quiero pedir excusas que siendo ciudadano americano todavía no hablo bien el inglés.
He likes to be excused that he's a citizen of the United States, but he can't speak English yet, so he's not ready to do it. That's why I'm doing this translation.
Estamos aquí representando un grupo de niños y jóvenes que juegan soccer en la ciudad.
We are here to represent a group of youngsters and soccer players that represent the city of Homestead.
Quisiera que se pusieran en pie los niños.
Stand up.
Son los actuales campeones 2013 de Miami-Dade League.
They are the actual champions of Dade County. They won the first championship.
Okay. Okay, sit down. Yo soy pastor en la ciudad
I'm a pastor of the city of Homestead.
y soy entrenador de soccer.
I'm also a coach soccer.
Algo que también hice en la ciudad de Kendall,
It's something that I also did in the city of Kendall.
pero ahora lo estoy haciendo hace 8 años en esta ciudad.
But I've been doing this for the last 8 years in the city of Homestead.
La problemática que tenemos
The problem that we have
es que en la ciudad de Kendall, como en otras ciudades de Miami-Dade, tenemos canchas de soccer para jugar.
is the city of Kendall has many soccer fields, but something that city of Homestead doesn't have.
Siendo que en Homestead no tenemos esa posibilidad.
And the city of Homestead we don't have that possibility of having soccer fields.
Y necesitamos nosotros
And we need that
que los jóvenes de las demás ciudades de Miami-Dade
the youngster people from other cities
que tienen la chance de poder conseguir becas por medio del deporte del soccer,
that they may have the chance to get a scholarship through the practice of soccer,
que los niños y jóvenes de esta ciudad
that the kids and young people of this city,
tengan la misma posibilidad.
they may have that possibility.
Para eso es necesario
For that is necessary
que nosotros podamos tener Roscoe Warren Park con luces.
that we can have Roscoe Warren Park with lights.
Muchos muchachos que yo he entrenado en Kendall
He has trained a lot of young people in Kendall,
saliendo 3 veces campeones del estado.
and they were 3 times state championship.
Hoy ya son hombres
Now they are grown men
que han solucionado su vida y su futuro por medio de becas por el soccer.
that they have find a solution for their life through scholarship.
Nosotros queremos que aquí en Homestead tengan esa posibilidad también.
We would like to have the opportunity in Homestead so the kids can have the same opportunity as well.
Hay jugadores profesionales
There are professional players
como Josie Altido,
como Josie Alto, like Josie Alto,
es el goleador de la selección de Estados Unidos hoy,
that he is the main soccer scorer in the United States.
today,
Hoy, today.
goleador. Él salió de aquí, de Florida,
He came from the state of Florida.
y hemos sacado otros jugadores profesionales también.
And we also have other professional players.
Y queremos que nos den la chance de poder realizar este trabajo en la ciudad.
Excuse me. It's a timeline. So let me kind of quickly catch up here. We are aware of the light situation, the lighting of fields. We are very far behind on lit fields for soccer. We have a budget we're working with. We met with our U.S. Congressman today, Joe Garcia, who stepped up and said he would do everything he could possibly do to help us with some form of grant. We just sent that message today in this very room at 1 o'clock. It's part of our legislative agenda.
que están poniéndole una legislación para poder recibir un
Ok,
dinero.
Lo que nosotros queremos tratar de solicitar, yo estuve reunido hoy con el director de Kendall House, de Kendall. Dile.
He said he was, today he got a gathering with the Kenneth Hamels.
Y la forma que trabajan las diferentes ciudades de Miami-Dade, la forma en que
The
trabajan,
way that the other people in the city operate
es que ceden a un club el poder administrar el lugar, las canchas.
that they give the power to a club to administer the fields.
Y nosotros necesitamos poder hacer eso en Roscoe Warren, si es posible.
And we would like to have the opportunity to do that same thing in Roscoe Warren Park.
Well, here's the opportunity.
If it's possible.
Here's the opportunity we need, because the time is like double. So the opportunity you're going to have is to sit down, and I'm sure that she's more than willing and ready to sit down with you, is the chair of the Park and Recs, which is Councilwoman Wallman. Councilwoman Wallman. She'll sit down, I'm sure, with you. You set a time with her, call her office, she'll set it, and you can go through the process that we went through the process today in this room, which we are looking for the money. You know, it's a money thing. We've got a budget, and we're working hard to find the funds to install the lights, because it's not hundreds. At that particular park, it's over $1 million to properly light those 6 fields. So we are working very diligently on it. So I would ask that you call Councilwoman Wallman's office and set a time to meet with her. Okay?
All right.
Ms.
Thank
Wallman,
you.
want to say anything? This pastor is for 3 years in a row. He's been with many other pastors who come to our city, and they pray for our city and pray for our city hall. This is the 3rd year that I've met with him. Wonderful people. Okay, thank you very much.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, John and Margaret Price,
Price,
2175 SE First Street, Homestead, homeowners in Homestead, Florida. And we'd like a proposal for a beautification project.
Right, and I apologize. I was in the audience and I did not even recognize you. I apologize. I was standing 2 feet from you. I'm going like, I know these people from somewhere. Church.
We live in Ventanas del Sol, which is right next to the turnpike, and we would really feel that, you know, we'd like to beautify the area as well, as like the mayor and council would also like to do through the whole city of Homestead. And we just happened to be driving past Southwest 4th Street and saw some beautiful trees that were there, and thought, wouldn't that really be nice for the millions of people that drive down the turnpike every year to see this as they're driving by? It's just another project for beautifying Homestead, and we really think that it would be add an aesthetic value to the city and to our development as well. So we would really like to know how we could help do this.
Sure.
And work with anyone that would be willing to do so.
Sure thing. Mr. Bria, could you give me the name of the palm again? The Majestic? Majewel?
Sylvester Palm.
Sylvester Palms. Those palms are absolutely gorgeous, and the head of that project sitting at the very end of the table down there, Mr. Williams, he put that together, and you couldn't ask for a more beautiful street. That street will become by far one of the best-looking streets we have in all Homestead. So I agree with you 100%. So I'm going to turn to my manager to the left. He's the guy on the far end over there. And I'm going to ask...
He makes it happen.
I'm going to ask Mr. George Gretzis to, it's budget time, to look into that. And where they're talking about, Mr. Gretzis, is that short area, a couple hundred yards, just as you turn off of Farm Life onto Maori in front of the high school. Apparently we had some problems with the developer in finalizing the final lift on the road. We had weeds that were 4 or 5 feet tall, 4 feet tall. We finally got in there after our litigation or whatever we did. I don't know what finally happened with the contractor, but we get the weeds pulled out. and there's absolutely no landscape, so it would be a viable project because there's not even ground cover in there. So if we can look at some type of project,
Yeah, I think we do have an issue. We don't own that, right?
we don't own it? Uh-oh.
We still haven't accepted that portion of the roadway.
Because it's not up to
That, Mayor, is the problem. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but that's really been the issue of even the weeding. We're not technically supposed to be even doing the weeding. We've
Right.
been doing it just out of,
No.
the lawyers say it's the doctrine of necessity. We do it because
You got tired of hearing
we don't
me.
So, but in terms of doing anything more with that, it's a little more complicated because we don't technically own the property yet.
I hear you. So I knew there was a problem. I did not know that we had not resolved it. And the problem is that we have not taken conveyance of that section that was done by the developer who built your project there, Southern Homes. And apparently we're in litigation on it to finalize it. Is why we do not have landscape in there. But I wasn't aware of that. What do you think the completion of that is, Richard? Mr. Manager? Either one of you?
It's still kind of in limbo right now. There's just a difference of opinion on what happened and what each side is responsible for. And so right now it's just kind of stuck.
It's stuck in a court of law or stuck in just decision between us and them?
Between us and them. I don't think we've reached litigation stage yet, so we've kind of, it's technically it's their responsibility right now, and that's our position.
And they are still in business, is that correct? I didn't think they were still in business.
That's from what we know.
Mhm.
So our position basically is that it's their property, and we don't really have the right to even and weed, but we've been doing it just because we're afraid of potential, motor vehicle issues, and so we've kind of stretched probably further than we should, but we've done it at a necessity.
Okay. All right. Yes, Mr.
Just for
Shelley.
clarification, where is this property? Because I'm trying to envision that, and I don't...
Mallory, extension of Mallory, right where we did...
Right across from Everglades Academy, the new
Oh,
school that was built on
okay.
Mallory.
The western section.
Yeah, okay.
I would say it's, I don't know, 150 yards, 200 yards stretch. I hate to send them away with no hope that if we don't know when we're going to take conveyance of it. But
Perhaps we.
At this point, I would recommend status quo just because there's a lot of issues at stake here beyond just beautification, and it's very complicated in light of some of the claims that they're making regarding some contributions, and there's a lot of issues that are well beyond just the taking over of the property.
and is the final lift on that road, the final asphalt, Julio?
No, not yet.
It's not? Okay. See, the final capping of that road's not even done. Apparently, it's about that far below where it needs to be. What they call a lift, the final lift. So I wish I could give you a better answer.
Is there anyone that we can keep in contact with to see if this,
Absolutely, and we can, Julio, I guess, can we, I'll tell you what we could do. We'll get you an update, and if you can give Julio your name and telephone number, Julio will get in contact with you and give you a verbal update. It's probably better that we do that because I think this potentially could get into litigation, so we'd prefer to not get into too much detail.
all right, thank you very much.
Julio, would you
Thank
mind?
you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
You've got a beautiful neighborhood, beautiful community.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rochnell. I just saw 1712 Northeast 8th Street, Homestead, Florida. I'm here tonight to make a special announcement. For those who don't know, many of you already have, that I'm running for City Council, Seat 4, which is Southwest District. My name is Josh Deligan. I'm come from Haiti. I've been here for 27 years. I follow the law and I do the right thing. I work here, and also I'm a small business here in Homestead. I'm the owner of the Northwest Security School, which is located on Flagler Avenue. Why do I running? I'm running for the city council. We want to have a government where we all can work together, a unified government. I'm here also to let you know that we could have a government for all people, I mean all residents of Homestead. And because I believe the people of Homestead, especially District 4, Southwest District, they deserve better, and a leader who can stand up for them and create more jobs, bring more jobs in the community, more safety environments. And I'm here for you to support me. If you want to make a change in the Southwest area, you have an only choice to vote for me on October 1st. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. Thank you. May God bless you. May God bless people of America. May God bless the people of Homestead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Terry Weinstein, 8565 Southwest 125th Street, Miami. I am asking you all, as a friend of Elvis Maldonado's, to support him as he seeks re-election to seat 5 and to allow him to continue to humbly and respectfully represent you all here in Homestead. Mr. Maldonado has been a city council member for the past 4 years and has been a part of the tremendous growth Homestead has experienced. Homestead citizens have seen numerous improvements ranging from A+ schools, beautification, and a wide range of services, just to name a few. Mr. Maldonado has been a Homestead resident for nearly 35 years, is a Homestead business owner, and his daughters attend area schools. So I ask you to support him as he seeks re-election to seat 5. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing that I comment on is he's not 35 years old. No way.
Nearly. I said nearly 35.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Next item on the agenda. Excuse my mic. I think it died. Let's move on to additions, deletions, and referrals. Yes? No? None?
There's one addition which is on your agenda.
An item, what item is that?
It's
Okay. Okay, you want to go ahead and take that item now? That's next one on, okay. Car number 935, Tropical Cornucopia, South Day Greenway Farms. Move it on?
Move it.
Thank you. Second? All in favor? Aye. Nays? Okay, item carries. Staff report.
Staff is seeking direction regarding Redland Tropical Gardens
you,
request
sir. Reverse
for the
that.
City of Homestead to serve as the official host and co-sponsor of the Tropical Cornucopia South Dade Greenway Farm and Garden Show, the first official Smart Growth World Class Signature Sustainable event to be produced in South Miami-Dade County. The sponsorship amount is $10,000. I am bringing this to the council as opposed to the CRA. There are a lot of moving parts in the proposal. And we're just seeking some direction
Okay.
from the council.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Council? Direction?
Mayor?
Discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes. I've had one of the opportunities to meet with them and go over their proposal. There's a lot of great things that could be beneficial to our community, and especially they have quite a bit of things that they would like to do in my district in the Southwest area that I think that would be more helpful for the community of engagement and to be more better educated on the environment, the trees, and different things like that. And they've got some great ideas within this packet, and I'm very supportive of it.
Okay, yes, Ms. Wallman.
No, she can go. I'll go after her.
Go ahead. Yes, you got the floor. Yeah, that's why I took my mic and held up to me.
Barely.
Take it out.
Barely.
Take it out. Take it out. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. I just want to say I've had the opportunity and pleasure to work with Margie and Corky on many different projects. And I also had an opportunity, I was gone last week, but I had an opportunity to read your plan. And it's ambitious, but you're always ambitious. And I support you totally. I mean, you want this $10,000 for police, correct?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So with that being said, you know,
And in return, the city will get a tremendous amount of options, you know, offered to it later.
well, you know, for years we've been trying to pull together agriculture and
Forestry and
yes,
nature,
yes,
absolutely.
been trying to pull it together for years and years and years. So for that reason, and because it is for the police, so we will know in a very short period of time whether or not you're going to be able to do what you need to do.
Absolutely.
So the money will not be spent until the project actually goes into fruition. So,
Correct.
so with that being said, I have no problem, and you know I'll do anything I can to help you. So
Thank you that's very kind.
it's Margie Who.
Margie Who, yeah, that's what my husband
We were known
thinks.
as Margie Who and Judy Who and Corky Who
Right.
through
He
many
thinks his
projects.
wife works all the time, so
our
I'm
husbands
only
would say,
pass on the way through.
our husbands would say, "Who are you?"
Who are you
So,
looking for?
Thank you.
Mr. Shelley, Councilor
Thank you, Mayor. Just kind of echoing what Councilwoman Waldman had to say, and that is I think that the idea behind this and the ambition that you have is fantastic. I think that this could be a real, you know, keystone event for the city of Homestead and our downtown area, especially pulling into the agricultural community, the local nurseries, and all the events that you have planned. And so I hope that it's able to be put together in such a short period of time and able to take off. The only thing I would, I guess, ask the question about is just from a safekeeping standpoint for the monies, that because we are, as I understand it, we're going to be, the donation will be used by them to pay the police, that if the event for some reason doesn't take place, not that I'm saying it won't, I think that you guys are going to pull it off, the monies wouldn't be expended, correct? There is we can put some sort of safeguard in there just so that it's not just a $10,000 and then if the event doesn't take place, we don't.
We, depending on the direction from the council, if this is something that you'd like to see the CRA take care of, or if this is something that the council takes care of, we can work with FOP directly for that. We've done that in the past, so.
Well, whichever way, I know that they're, you know, my understanding was it was going to be a payment to Redland Tropical Gardens, and then they would utilize that based on their budget to help pay or offset the cost of some of the police, which I'm okay with.
We don't usually release the funds until we get the invoices from FOP. We do write the check to the nonprofit, but we get those invoices directly from FOP.
Perfect. That's all. I just wanted to make sure that there was a safeguard where one
Yes.
equaled the other. So yeah, I have no problems with it. I fully support it, and I think that I look forward to the event itself. I think it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions from council?
Mr. Mayor, if the council wants to move ahead with this, I think that the prudent thing to do is to have an actual agreement with them that sets forth. They're asking us to do certain purchases. I read the thing very briefly. They wanted us to waive competitive bidding procedures and some other things, but in terms of purchasing supplies that are necessary to support what they're doing, if I'm reading it correctly. But in any event, I think we should have a simple agreement with them, not overly lawyered, but that sets forth what people are doing and the parties' responsibilities in order that we have some clarity in the relationship.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Shelley, Councilman Shelley.
Just for clarity, my understanding from the proposal was it was going to be a $10,000 sponsorships, flat out, that's all. That was all that I believe they were asking for. And then we may be able to coordinate with them if we choose to, but the...
I'm looking at maybe something different, which is...
Right, theirs is more complex.
The document says we requested the City of Homestead to blah, blah, there's 3 or 4 of them, authorize the waiver of competitive bid procedures related to the specific event and the purchasing of supplies, equipment, and services necessary for the City of Homestead co-sponsorship. Authorize the use of all city-owned properties identified in the Homestead CRA district on schedule of usage proposed.
But what I guess I would be saying is that I support the $10,000 donation for use of helping them offset the cost of the police, and that's the limit of my authority tonight, because what they have proposed in here is much more complex than what they've represented that they're asking for, and so I have asked them after, to clarify what it is that you guys need, and they indicated that if the City of Homestead would help sponsor that $10,000, that's all they're asking for us to obligate.
So they're asking for a donation, basically.
A donation of $10,000 that we can then, but it's going to be for a specific purpose. That's why I want to make sure there's safeguards in place for the use of the police, which based on what Mr. Emirato has stated, I'm satisfied with. But yeah, my authorization is for the $10,000, not for all of these other things that are being proposed in this document. Is that my understanding of what you guys are asking for?
Yes, that's correct. We're stating $10,000. At this point, we received a document stating that the expenses for police were $8,000, and whatever additional city services that would total a total amount of $10,000 would be all that we're requesting. This is a budget of $250,000. We're asking, because we're working with the state of Florida, Miami-Dade County, and so we're simply asking the city of Miami, city of Homestead rather, for the $10,000 sponsorship.
If I could ask a question, are you saying that part of that is in kind, $8,000 worth of off-duty police services?
The total cash amount would be $10,000 for whatever accumulated costs that would be incurred that would be city services, be it police, fire, rescue, cleanup, whatever that happened to be, which we assume will be about $10,000.
So are you saying that the $10,000, part of that would be used for the $8,000 police services?
That's correct.
So you're really not asking, you're basically asking for part of the $10,000 in kind.
No, because we understand that that has to be a cash, that's an actual cash expense on the part of our presentation and our event with the City of Homestead Police Department. So it's $8,000 bill that we've received, an invoice for $8,000 for what we're looking to do for November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. But in addition to that, we're looking at some costs that will be incurred that will include cleanup and whatever other costs that might take place, waste management or whatever, up to $10,000. It will not exceed that amount.
I get it. I think if the council wants to move ahead with this, we should do a simple little agreement that sets forth this, and not a problem and not overly bureaucratic, but I think a grant agreement or something would be the right thing to do.
And they can move forward with their planning, and we'll bring it at the CAL.
Correct.
Let's see it at the next CAL CRA.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
It was my understanding as well, and I asked the same question, Richard, about the $8,000, and it was my understanding that to share the same concerns, and I asked the same question, whether it be, they're looking for in-kind dollars, or but they asked for the whole $10,000, and I guess because of the off-duty and contracts for the police officers, they still have to be compensated, so they can't give that, from my understanding, for whatever reasons or unions or what have you. But I'm okay with what they're asking for as it relates to that, and to make sure that it's going to be done decent and in order. I trust staff. We've had other vendors like Main Street to come or Martin Luther King Parade, and they have asked for amounts to go towards police. And I don't know if we've had to create a document. Have we ever had to create a document, Rick?
We've usually used the proposal that they've submitted, but the proposal that they've submitted was a little bit more detailed, the doc that you have in your hand. So we've had a lot of conversations. I've had the same questions about, we're going to give you 10,000, 2 months down the line if something came up, we were concerned about something spiral out. And they've assured me that this is all they're requesting. We just haven't had any time to change the document. So.
Okay, so from what I'm getting, if something happens, then police will not be used, so the monies will not be expended. So to me, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Thank you. And my thought, I'm in support of it, but my thought goes along with what the attorney brought up, because on another page it says and I wasn't real clear with what they said. And then this, it says strategic planning, sponsorship, and other fundraising in cooperation with the designated City of Homestead department staff. So that, to me, that sounds like we're helping them with fundraising, and we're giving them staff and stuff. So I think that I need a little more clarity on exactly.
We had that conversation as well, Vice Mayor, because we mentioned the Centennial and the resources we've had to put to the Centennial, and we've had very candid conversations, and that's why, we're comfortable bringing it to you for a $10,000 donation. It would be a simple process for us to just clarify that in a document that you can vote directly on, so everybody's comfortable. They can move forward. We know that you guys are in support, that the council is in support of this, so if it makes you more comfortable, we can come back with a new document at the Cal.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Can I finish?
Yes, sir.
You cut me off.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, okay. I was in the line of my questioning. This document, I think, is what everybody's referring to. This document here, the addendum, are you, most of it, the sponsorship is 10,000, but it goes into other. Are you willing to back off this document and just ask for what is, what you're listed? And then you can come back at a later time to go through all of this, or because I don't want you to lose ground here. And this document is what persons are referring to in order to arrive at a decision.
We certainly appreciate all of the support of the council and City of Homestead as we have had over the years. And we can certainly work out a direct contract agreement. The original request was just simply that the cost for police, fire, and rescue be absorbed by the City of Homestead, be it in kind or whatever, which we would be perfectly all right with. So if that could be worked out, then we're absolutely fine. If not, then an agreement for the $10,000 specifically allocated for the city services, if we can work out an agreement from that standpoint, everything else that you have in the addendum can be ignored.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, further questions from council? All right, then, so we'll agree that we'll put in a small agreement together, and we'll meet again at the Cal meeting.
And we're very pleased to state that we will be a part of the Viva Florida 500 2013 expansion under sustainability. We will be working with the Convention and Visitors Bureau for Greater Miami in terms of doing a new project for sustainable tourism, targeting Homestead as Miami-Dade County's first sustainable community and very first sustainable event for our community. So we're very proud of that indeed.
Thank you.
Indeed.
It's always
Thank
good
you all.
Always good to see you, Corky.
It's always good. Thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, we're going to actually go to tab 1, which is consent agenda. Entertain motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move it.
Second, okay. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Nays? Item carries. Okay, we're going to go public hearing. Ordinances, land use, quasi-judicial.
Yes.
This is...
Please be advised the following item on the agenda is quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon this item, please indicate this item you'd like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on this item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on this item is hereby entered into the record, and persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on the following item. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications they've had concerning this agenda item. Hearing none at this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify in the following quasi-item.
Please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Tab 11, card number 894 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an amendment to the Malibu Bay PUD Master Development Plan to increase the maximum building height of the Hampton Inn Hotel and Suite structure to permit a maximum building height of 95 feet or 7 stories, located at 2855 Northeast 9th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Move it.
Second.
Thank you.
Question.
Questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Do we know when, just in case people start to ask, when they're anticipating to start this project? Either you or the applicant, anybody
I would
just...
defer to the applicants, their time schedule, so I'll let George. George, do you
George.
know when you're going to start?
Good evening. We don't have a set date. We do plan on starting the site plan process yet in order to be able to establish now that hopefully this will be approved. Once the zoning is approved, now we need to modify the existing site plan to account for the larger number of units. So we'll probably be doing that in the next month or two. Hopefully we'll be coming by. But we don't have a set date for that. We're proceeding along to see how the market behaves, and we're just getting ready for it. It's not going to be something that we're going to do immediately. We just want to get all our ducks in a row getting ready for it. Certainly within the next year or two.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Further questions? So is this open to the public as well? Okay. All right. At this time, no further questions from council. I'll open the public hearing. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions from council? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Wallman? Yes. Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Baseman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, tab 12, card 902, amending section 1639, local business tax
An
receipt
ordinance-
inspection fee.
An ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 16, Local Business Taxes and Business Regulations, Article 2, Local Business Tax Receipts, Section 1639, Local Business Tax Receipt Inspection Fee, to amend the applicable time frames for required re-inspections, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is a second reading and public hearing.
Move it.
Thank you.
Second it.
Second, thank you. Staff?
Yes, sir, we recommend that the mayor and council approve the amendment to this section of the code, section 16-39, which currently requires the reinspection of businesses every year. We want to amend that to require the reinspection every 5 years. We noticed this in the code last year. We are about to undertake the renewal of business tax license and thought that we, before we implemented this, that we should bring it to you and let you know. None of the other cities that we looked at do it this way. It takes significant resources. We felt that it would concern the public with the additional fee that would be added, so we thought we'd bring it to you first. Again, our recommendation is to modify the code to do it every 5 years. We think that's more reasonable, so we ask for your approval.
Here. Okay. Questions from council? We currently do it once a year?
Yes, sir. It's to be done once. It's to be done every year. For every business is to be re-inspected for the 3 trades every single year.
That's what we currently do.
That's what we do it's what it says in the code. We do not do that at this point in time.
Oh, we do not do that.
We do not.
We do not do that. What do we do?
We just reissue the business tax receipt with no inspection. So the businesses are inspected when they open up and get their initial business tax license. That's when we go in and do the inspections. So the practice is that every time a new business comes in, they become inspected. This section of the code says that, and that's what most cities will do it at the initial business tax receipt, or they will do it at a period of 5 years or so. This asks to inspect every business every year.
And
And
we're
that's about 2,500 businesses at 3 inspections apiece, so it's going to cost the average business at $37 an inspection, about $100, $105 each year for the inspections. More than they pay now, obviously.
Right. And we're going to go to every 5 years.
I think that's more reasonable, yes, sir.
Oh,
That's my
yes.
recommendation.
Yes, well, thank you for bringing that up, because every dollar we can save for the small businesses out there today is something in their favor. They struggle now to make it ends meet, so thank you for finding this and actually bringing this to us, right?
You're welcome.
Okay, final questions from council? Or any questions, council? I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public on this item? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay. Tab 13, Car 909, Local Hearing Office Officer for the Red Light Camera Program.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, appointing local hearing officer to preside over red light camera notice of violation hearings, establishing term of office, compensation, related matters, providing for implementation, and an effective date.
Move it. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff?
Mayor, the City Council recently amended the red light camera program provided by Article 2 of Chapter 18 of the City Code to comply with legislative amendments made during the 2013 legislative session. This resolution serves to implement the amended program by appointing a local hearing officer to conduct hearings locally on notices of violation that are issued under the program. The resolution appoints the local hearing officer, specifies the term of office, compensation, and other details as provided by the City Code. Section 18-7 of the City Code requires that the person appointed as local hearing officer be an attorney or former police officer who is experienced in Florida traffic law. The amended legislation allows administrative costs to be imposed upon violators by the local hearing officer in order to help offset the cost of the notice of violation hearings. Staff's recommendation that the attached resolution be adopted in order to appoint a local hearing officer to preside over and conduct hearings on red light cameras notice of violation matters.
Okay, questions from council? So this would be like a special master?
Yes.
They'd go before and look at each case and, okay, sounds good. All right, I'll open the public hearing. Any questions from the public on the red light camera issue? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council.
Unless you all want to discontinue the red light camera program.
I do.
We're happy to put that on the agenda someday.
I've never had one, but I get a lot of calls. Yeah. Bringing it up, what's the extent of that contract? How long does that contract run for that was signed before us?
Chief? We can get an answer for you. And
Yeah, it'd be nice. And, I mean, we haven't renewed it all, have we?
No, and they had come and asked for an expansion of the program, and we didn't see that that was something that there was a whole lot of interest in, so.
Well, just bring it to us before you attempt to extend it, all right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. All right. Final questions from council. Any questions from council? Okay. Open the public hearing. Questions from the public. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 14, Car 913, collective bargaining agreement with the IBW.
A resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for ratification of the collective bargaining agreement between the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers and the City of Homestead in effect from October 1st, 2012 through September 30th, 2014, authorizing the city manager to sign the collective bargaining agreement on behalf of the city, authorizing the city manager to take all actions necessary to implement the collective bargaining agreement, providing for an effective date.
Staff? Somebody move it?
Second.
Thank you. Staff?
Mayor, during the term of this agreement, the bargaining unit employees will not receive a cost of living increase or adjustment. The city agrees to not lay off any bargaining unit employees during the term of this agreement. No other changes were made from the prior contract other than language changes previously agreed upon through memorandums of understanding. Staff recommends the mayor and council approve the attached resolution, authorize the city manager to sign the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Homestead and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers for the term of October 1st, 2012 through September 30th, 2014. Mayor, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the union for their cooperation here. This would be, if this contract is approved by you all tonight, this represents basically 4 years of no raises for these employees, and everybody really has sacrificed in order to get us through these tough economic times. And conversely, it's also important to recognize you all here on this dais, because this also means that we won't lay off any employees, and that's really important to people that rely on these jobs, and it's an important message to the organization to say that you care about your people here and that we're all in the same boat together. So again, I thank you all for supporting the employees, and I thank the employees for contributing to getting us through the hard times.
Good job. Good job, George. All right, questions from council? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council?
Just a comment, Mayor.
Yes.
I was just recently appointed to the Miami-Dade League of City Budget Finance Committee, and let me tell you that they are going through some tough times right now with their budget and union employees, and obviously with the firefighters and all that. And so again, I would also applaud our union, IBW, and this council and this staff, because we are doing a great job over here. When we look at our budgets, see what we're doing a phenomenal job. So my hats off to everyone, especially now that I'm in the process of seeing, what's exactly happening over there in Miami-Dade County. It's a pretty tough road, so good job to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Car number 926, contract amendment for the Building Department Professional Services.
Move it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Gotta
Staff?
read it, gotta read it. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving increase in the total authorized amount of compensation for building department services for the current fiscal year concerning services provided to the city pursuant to consultant agreements between the city and MT Causley, Inc., providing for an effective date.
Move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Staff?
Mayor, in 2013, the City Council approved $480,000 in appropriations for building professional services pursuant to fiscal year 2013 adopted budget. Initially, the city issued a purchase order for $375,000. During the year, the department monitored the increased activity and revenues from permits and now requests that the full budgeted amount be allocated. Staff recommends the mayor and council approve the attached resolution approving an amendment to the existing purchase order with MT Causley, Inc.
Okay, questions from council? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Questions from council? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Discussion item, car number 931, political signs.
Mayor,
Come forward.
Mayor, my apology to you all for not bringing this forward earlier than this. Basically, what triggered my memory from last election cycle and probably every election cycle since I've been a city manager is that there's always issues and questions and concerns by all candidates regarding signs. And so we try to have these discussions before the season starts, but we're going to try as best as we can to have a non-political, neutral and detached discussion about what the rules are, what our system is for enforcement, just so everybody, all candidates and the public understands what the procedures are for what we do here, and if there are any questions or concerns. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to...
Before you do that.
Yes.
Okay. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I talked with, when I saw it on the agenda, I talked with our beloved city manager. and waive my caution at this time about political signs. Seeing that we have 4 seats that are up for election and 4 persons sitting in those spots that are running for re-election, I didn't think it was a something that we needed to bring to the public, to us at this time, and be partial and be objective to what this discussion might be. And so I just want to put that on the record, because you know, there are 4 people up here who are, you know, who are in this cycle, and for us to be sitting behind the desk making those decisions, it would probably be best in an off-election year, or way before now. But I just wanted to put that on the record, and you and I had this discussion yesterday over the phone. Thank you.
So, Vice Mayor Burgess.
Thank you, sir. One of the things that I've learned through talking with code and all that is that unfortunately during this season there is not much time other than responding to calls from whomever. It might be the public or another candidate or candidate A or candidate B or C that takes up their entire day, and we're losing many hours of manpower and the ability to them to do their job the right way. So I think, you know, the rules are written, they've been written, they need to be followed. There's no special treatment to anybody. I certainly didn't ask for it. If I had a sign that was in the wrong place 2 years ago, 6 years ago, I remember having Crystal and them haul a couple signs off, and I'd go, what? And they'd, it's in the wrong place, you know, and things like that. So, I mean, if the rules are going to be followed, I think we're good, but we cannot be burdening our code enforcement employees, or code compliance employees as they're known now, with these trivial games that are played around the city by all teams or all supporters or whatever you want to say, because it takes away from them to do their ability and do the real job that we've tasked them to do, and that's to keep the city clean and keep it looking good and make sure things are done safely around here. So,
Mayor?
That's my comment.
I need to respond to that. Yeah, if you don't
Well, I
mind.
guess I am done now, so go ahead. You already jumped in.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you got the floor. He's relinquished.
Okay. I agree with all he just said. And I have no problems with that. And I suggested this to the city manager. I said, if you're going to have a forum like this, you need to invite everybody, all candidates. And that way, those of persons who are running, you're talking to 4 persons up here, and there are other candidates that are running that are not here that need to be talked to. So my suggestion to the city manager was that he invite all persons, all candidates, through the city clerk who have picked up packets, what have you. So those persons who could be in fault, who could be in violation of these, because John, you're saying that we need to read it, but all of us are not here to read it. So my suggestion was to the city manager to invite all the candidates here so that they can hear everything that we're hearing and discussing, so that it is fair across the board. That's all. That was my suggestion. And of course, he's the city manager, and he said he would give it some thought, but he didn't waver on that one. So, but with all due respect, you understand what I'm saying? That those persons who could be in violation or need to, as you say, read this, they're not here. And so that was my only concern about this being on the agenda tonight.
And one thing, Mayor, we could do, if, assuming you're comfortable and there's going to be no changes to our procedure, we're happy to have staff coordinate a little get-together invite candidates to come, and they can go through and explain what the rules are. The thing that we're most concerned about, and again, it's my apology because we should have done this many months ago. I just hadn't crossed my mind until I got the first call. And it's important for everybody to understand that the staff here is in the unenviable position having to call balls and strikes during a period of time where people are sensitive. And so I think it's important for everybody to know where the strike zone is, and also for us to be able to hold the staff accountable. When people complain, we're going to go right to the videotape. So if, the videotape says we're doing it this way, and somebody complains, we're going to go to the videotape and see what they said, and everybody will be held to the same standard. And my hope was that we could kind of get this through this fairly quickly and not to single anybody out, because that certainly wasn't the intent. And I think Crystal on her slideshow has smiley faces and no names on the sign, so hopefully no candidates are represented. Crystal? Excellent. So
Before we go forward, I'd like to have a legal opinion. Richard, give us a legal opinion that those of us who are running can sit here and have a conversation back and forth and not have a problem down the road.
Yeah, I really think that this is a presentation of sort of what the rules are, and I think that during the campaign season, like any suggestions to city policy regarding these signs shouldn't really be made. It should be done in advance of the next election. So I think this is basically a presentation of the way staff interprets these rules. If there's a question, I'll answer them, but there's certainly no problem in you sitting and listening and asking a question. But if it's a question with a point, trying to adjust something, I think you should stay away from that.
Well, okay. I kind of agree with my colleague, Mr. Williams, that I really believe you're preaching to those who return phone calls, and you're preaching to those who do everything in their power to attempt to adjust and make it legal. And then there's those who don't even respond or answer the phone call and make no attempt whatsoever. So I kind of agree with Mr. Williams that it should be a meeting that, and next election cycle, it almost should be mandated that when you pick up your packet, you were briefed on what the signed ordinance says. Because there are some interpretations that Crystal has this election cycle that she didn't have last election cycle.
On that point, Mayor,
I don't want to go into them because then I'll be in trouble, but I'm going to promise you they are.
If we can that's a great suggestion, and if the group is comfortable with that, we can instruct the clerk to include that in her checklist, and we can have that every season so that everybody's on the same page. It really would be helpful so that there is no miscommunication on this issue. And it's the funniest thing, nobody really complains to the postmaster about when they deliver the mailings, but for some reason, the signs become a big issue, and I don't know why, but I feel very badly for Crystal and her group, because they're always getting the worst of the deal here.
And I agree, but the biggest comparison is non-conforming signs. There are hundreds in the city of Homestead that don't conform. Different size, shapes, heights, you name it. And what's fair for one should be fair for all. Yes, Mr. Burgess.
Well, and I would take the suggestion a bit further then, and perhaps after every qualifying closes on the 30th, is it? That there's a mandatory meeting of all people with the staff or something, so that the rules are laid out. Just a quick, and then as we move forward, make that, we somehow incorporate that into the qualifying thing, that there's a mandatory meeting before any signs can be put out into the city, so everybody knows, and everybody signs a piece of paper having read or been told what is able to be done. I mean, that could be a 30-minute workshop where Crystal could give a slideshow, and you're basically done, because the rules are here, and she can show you a couple do's and don'ts or whatever to help facilitate the rules that are here. And I think that we should, as we move forward, that this should become a mandatory thing as part of the qualification process.
Qualifying, yeah, I agree. Yes, Mr. Shelley.
Just two comments. One is to piggyback on that, to say that I believe that in our current packet, the sign ordinance is in there. We do sign that we receive it. So, I mean, when you're running for elected office in this position, I mean, you should be able to read and follow those types of directions. I'm not opposed to having a workshop. I mean, if that's what we decide to do, that's fine. If we want to hand-hold everyone's hand, that's fine too. But, that does take up staff time and staff, effort. And so I'm okay with that. I'm not complaining, but I am just pointing out the fact that that is provided to us as candidates. We do sign something saying that we received them, and so therefore we should be held to what we've signed and what we've received. The second point is I do agree with both the mayor and with Councilman Williams, and that is, I mean, if we want to have a presentation today about what the rules are, that's fine. I think that's great. But to have any discussion about interpreting the rules or giving staff direction on how they should interpret the rules, I think this is too late. It's the improper form, and I think at this point you run into that, you know, if we make decisions, are we self-serving if we're up for re-election? And I think that makes us look bad if we do that. And at the same time, you know, if we make decisions that makes it harder for the non-incumbents, then it makes us look bad. So no matter what we do, it ends up being probably a negative result or could be spun as such. So the fact that we just have a basic presentation that says these are the rules and this is how staff enforces these rules for this cycle, that's fine. But to have any further discussion and give any direction thereafter, I think is really not, I'm not comfortable with that at all.
And I think that the presentation, I totally agree with you. I think the presentation will only lead to discussion or create some type of discussion. So I really think, as excited as I was about the presentation happening, and Crystal and I talked, I think it's a waste of time right now. I really think it's a waste of time. You're wasting the time of council and staff to go over something that every one of us are not here. And again, some of the biggest problems exist out there, and they act like they're not part of it. So I think it's a waste of time. I think we can move on quickly and finish our council meeting. And
Mayor?
yes, Ms. Wallen.
I'm sorry. Since I'm not running, I'm going to tell you what I think.
Well, you can debate. That's great. Will you represent me, please?
I'm just going to say I do agree with my counsel that Crystal, I'm sure your smiley faces are adorable like you are, but it's probably not a good idea to do it tonight. However, I will say this, and I think a couple of the council have said it as well. I don't have one of those, but the rules are the rules are the rules. And I thought, just from what I saw on the agenda, with no discussion from anybody, I thought we were going to talk about leniency as to how much time do you give somebody to change things. And once you give that leniency and then they don't change it, then they should, you know, they should go and take their signs down. And I don't know if this is the proper time. As far as I know, is there any leniency in the actual code?
See, I think that's the issue here, why we thought it was important to have this discussion, is because the questions that we're getting about the signs during this cycle, as previous campaigns or election cycles, has been that it's not so much what does the ordinance say as much as how do we handle the enforcement piece. Some cities, you know, if you're not in compliance, they bring a truck along and they go from sign to sign and they put them in the back and they take them away and that's it. There's no leniency, there's no process. It's not a legal sign, it goes in the truck. Some cities like this one, it's more of a, we call, you can move the signs, we give you a couple of days. So the problem that we're having as we get the calls here, and why we thought it was an important discussion, is that it is an informal process. It is not a strict process, and when people call and say, why does that particular candidate have an illegal sign there? Why isn't it in the back of a truck? It's not because Crystal is favoring a particular candidate or anybody in our enforcement division. It's because this has been a long-standing practice that they've had, and the fact that we get calls suggests to me that people don't really understand our process. And so if it's not this forum, I still feel, for the sake of the staff's integrity, people need to hear what the system of enforcement is here, because it really isn't fair to them. They take the brunt of this every cycle, and it's the same accusation over and over again, and yet nobody wants to change the rules, or nobody suggested changing the rules. And so either people don't understand the rules and the enforcement procedure, or they do understand and they're not following them, but the enforcement procedure is the enforcement procedure. And I respect the fact that you're saying it's in the packet, but that doesn't mean that Crystal isn't tussling with a good amount of people on this same issue over and over again. So something is wrong.
Well, how about this? I mean, I guess if you look up the definition of rule in the dictionary, it's a rule to be followed. It's a set rule We all get the same package, everybody has it, and it would be my suggestion until after this election cycle, because I think having a mandatory, and I respect what you're saying, but you know good and well that half the people are going to come, half of them are not going to come. Responsible people are going to be there, but there's going to be those that aren't going to be there. And I would just say during this election cycle that the leniency is done, and it's a rule. We enforce it. And then after this election, then we go back and we see if you want to change it. But that's what I would do, Mayor, and I think you might agree with me. I mean, it's just now we know, and and that's what it's there for. And I don't want to babysit an elected official. If you can't read the rule and you can't go by the rule, then you don't need to be an elected official. And I know for me, in 2009, I made all my signs too tall. And I went back and I looked at the rule and I went, oh my God. And I had to go back and redo all my signs. And that was on me. And Crystal, you know I did it. I mean, I didn't even put them out. I realized it beforehand. So I was late putting my signs out because I followed the rule. And I went back and I did it before Crystal had to call me and tell me. So that's my opinion. You know, the rules are the rules. If it were just me, I mean, from this moment on, I would just go on, give you full authority to enforce the rule, and then talk about it after the election cycle.
But Mayor, if I could address that, because that's different than our current system. If enforcement means no, if by what you're talking about, enforcement means no tolerance, and as soon as they see an illegal sign, it comes down, that's different than their procedure, and that's why I thought it would be helpful for them to describe their enforcement process so that if there is a change in direction here, because that is not the procedure.
What is the procedure?
Well, that's why they're here to discuss it, and, you know, we could spend, with all due respect, we
Could've
could
been
spend a
done.
half hour talking
You're
about
right.
whether we
Could've been.
should discuss it or not, or give them an opportunity to discuss it. Please, let's just do this.
Okay. I concede. I lose.
We ain't gonna win this one.
I've suggested to the manager that putting the people that are running for office in this position, you know, is a little bit awkward. And I think the problem is that the staff has a procedure, and people just need to stop calling and complaining about the staff, because that's what's happening. And understand that the staff is doing their job in accordance with whatever procedures they're following, but that this time in the middle of an election, you know, is very, it's not a good time to be changing what they're doing. But the problem is that
But see, Richard, what I can't understand is, do people not understand the current enforcement system, or is it that they understand it, that they don't like it? Because the problem here is they do what they do, and they've been doing that for a while. We implement policy. So if people don't like the policy that we have, then policy can be changed. But what I don't think is fair is I don't think we can continue to be doing it the way we've been doing it, people complaining that they don't like the policy and we should be doing it some other way, but nobody wants to talk about it, nobody wants to do anything, and meanwhile the calls keep going to their direction, and they're getting blasted for doing their job. So I'm just asking for a little direction here on,
Mr. Mayor.
you either like what they're doing, or at least people understand what they're doing.
Well, just let me chime in. I like what they're doing, but the tough position you put us in tonight here is that I believe that there should be more than, there is more than just Crystal that makes a decision. But there are truly some items in that sign ordinance that are questionable, and what decision she's making on them versus, it's like an attorney's opinion. They look at it differently. Is it 32 square feet? Is it 64 square feet? Is it two-sided? And I'm getting into what I don't want to get into. But there are some serious things in that list that don't add up. I mean, you do one, but it's the same thing when you do the other one.
For the purposes of this election, you know, I can assure you that if Crystal has any question, she's not...
she's been great.
No, she's not shy about
No,
calling
heck
us. And
no.
so if there's an interpretation issue on this, you know, it's not being done in a vacuum. It's not just Crystal.
right.
You know, we're doing it as an administrative team. And, you know, I think that this obviously is an item that should be discussed, but I just think it's...
Well, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Schilling, I'm sorry.
Just my comment on this is that I think the problem is when you couch this as a discussion, that there's going to be a back and forth. That's the problem that I have with it.
Right.
Now, if on the other hand, you want to issue an oral memo tonight where she essentially tells us, this is how I enforce the rule,
that was the
period,
intent was.
I'm okay. I want to hear that, because then I'm not looking at this code that I get here and trying to interpret it myself. I can look at it and say, Crystal has said they interpret this particular code section this way. That will be the rule that I follow. Now, whether it's done tonight orally or whether it ends up being a written memo later given to us is indifferent to me, but that I'm okay with because that clarifies these rules, and so I now know the interpretation of these rules. But that is where I want to draw the line, because once you call this a discussion, once you imply that there's a back and forth and that any of us can say, well, we don't like your interpretation, that's when it gets to that gray area for me, and I think if we start walking a line that I don't want to walk. But on the other hand, if all it is she's saying this is how I interpret the law, then I'll hear that, because then at least I know.
That was
That's
our
fine.
intent.
Or if it's in a written memo, either one is fine.
So if each of you will pass your mics down to me.
Right, that's fine.
So that you can
No, I'm not
comment.
giving up my mic. No, you
yours
don't have
works.
that kind of control.
So the problem is if it becomes a two-way, I think that's where the problem comes. If it becomes a presentation by Crystal and that's it, good night, you know, make your appointment with the mayor and we'll leave. I think that's okay. I just think the comment portion of it or the discussion portion of it is where it puts you in a very uncomfortable position. So if you just want to hear the way this is going to be enforced for this election, you know, Crystal can make a presentation and say, this is the way it's going to be enforced.
Yeah.
Is that what you're suggesting?
George, this is a copy of the presentation, right? That she's going to present,
I don't have it, but I see
right?
it.
So I can take this and say I've read it and go about my business, right? Instead of you presenting it to me.
And if you have a
Because
question...
I'm telling you, if you start saying something, there's going to be someone to read. I'm probably sure I'll be one of the ones. I'm trying not to go here, but you know, could this be operable as our memorandum? This presentation here without discussion, or Crystal, you just really want to go through your slides? You want to go?
Do it.
Are you going to say anything that's not in here?
I mean, we've spent more time discussing whether she should present than the presentation was going to be, and also the best enforcers of whether you're going to speak or not are you. So if she gives a presentation and you don't want to speak, then she's done, and we're happy, and at least they've gotten a fair shake here.
You
But
want
this
this
is not-
presentation, I can tell.
This is not a fair shake. It's not a fair shake to let them out there.
I've never
and
seen
have them
so hard.
bayoneted out on the field. Quite frankly, it's really not fair to them.
But I want to
Does it-
ask one
Well,
question.
I got it.
Ms. Wallman,
I
I just
please.
want to say that I guess we're going to hear this, and you're going to tell us this smiley face is wrong, this smiley face is right, and then whatever you say, then that's going to be the policy, and everybody is supposed to adhere by it at this point in time. Is that correct?
And the enforcement procedure, which is the more controversial piece.
But whatever she says will be the
Unless
enforcement
you all decide to change
procedure,
it.
and we're not allowed to speak.
Yeah, we're not going to change it today.
That's the problem. He says we
No.
can't change it.
No,
I mean, all
I
that-
don't think it's appropriate for them to change. The presentation's fine, but this is a lecture, not a discussion.
I just want to make that point, so we all knew that
I know.
whatever she says, then that's what it's going to be. Crystal, you never knew you had such power, did you?
I disagree, but I'm going to sit here and listen, because the manager wants is bad. I've never
What-
seen how bad he wants. Please, let's move forward.
I don't think you will understand what they've been going through, and it's not really fair. It's become an abusive situation for them, and I feel strongly about this because it's not fair to them. And if people don't understand, that's one thing that can be easily remedied, but if people don't agree with it, well then, that's not their fault.
Right.
It's not their fault.
For the record, Crystal's only called me. I've never called her.
We're not looking to single anybody out here. We're just looking to give them 5 minutes to explain the process, and nobody has to say a word. I just don't understand what the harm is of that.
no different than Mr. Williams said. I would love to speak up and say something on a couple of them, and I know I dare not do it because next thing I know, I'm going to be facing some type of violation, you know? So I'll sit here quietly and listen and watch, because there are some situations that I think there needs to be
So
a
we're
legal
not gonna
opinion
do.
on.
Oh, sorry, Mayor. So we'll play the video. If no one wants to watch it, I mean, we don't have to sit here. You know, you could get up and leave. But I'm okay with supporting this because obviously you don't ask for much
I really
from
get
us. Yeah, I've never seen him argue a point here. So with that, you know, I'm going to be okay to watch. I want to watch the video because I'm going to go watch it anyways. And I'm not going to say nothing afterwards.
Mr. Maldonado, he can't vote.
That's fine. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm okay
sir.
with it moving forward.
Let's move forward.
Thank you.
Hi.
Oh.
I'll give you my mic. I'm not using it.
I turned my mic off. No, I lied. It's on.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager. Oh, it's not, is it not working? Yeah, it's on. It's on?
Take it out of the
Okay.
holder, put it right next to your mouth.
Oh,
That's
open mic night.
like you're singing.
Okay. It's not, oh, come on. Elizabeth, it's not working.
See, the machines don't even want the
Right.
presentation, so
Thank
they'll.
you. Thank you. Maybe I'm too far. There we go. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Ooh.
The first
Can't see that.
The first sheet in your presentation is the basic rules between residential and non-residential areas. The basics of this is there's one sign per candidate per parcel. So that does mean that multiple candidates can have one sign on the same lot. The height difference, as was stated before, is 6 foot in height above grade. The setback for the larger signs especially are important, which are the 10 feet back from the right-of-way. The 32 maximum square footage for the larger signs for a two-sided sign. It also discusses the temporary portable signs. Oh, there you go. That's probably the most important part. And then, which are 30 days prior to the election. The second page is simply more of the rules. The reason that the presentation came about tonight was questions in relation to the compliance process. What does code compliance do once we receive the complaint in reference to a sign? The first thing that I do, or the Code Compliance Division does, is to advise the candidate that there is a violation, grant them time for compliance, which is 7 days. If the compliance is not met by the candidate, a notice of violation is then issued to the candidate's campaign. After receipt of the notice of violation, if there is still no action on the part of the candidate, the sign is then removed by the city. The only exceptions to this process is in the event of a tropical storm or a hurricane watch, where the candidate is given a call for X amount of hours to be able to move the sign. If it is not moved for health and safety reasons, the signs are then removed. Also, on election day, there is no contacting of the candidates for the sign removal. So that prior part with all the contact and try to follow up and send them a notice of violation and all that extra time provided, obviously on an election day, that's not provided. The signs are just removed by the Code Compliance Division. The next slide, that's basically the model of what is acceptable. Both signs have 6 foot in height. They're 10 foot back from the right-of-way. Candidate A and candidate B, those are two different candidates, but they're allowed to be on the same parcel. of the non-residential property. If you could go to the next one. This is not correct. The sign is too high. It surpasses the 6 foot, and that V-shaped sign is not a two-sided sign. That's actually two signs put together. That is not what we would consider to be correct. That's a residential property. They have two different candidates, candidate A and B. It's properly placed on their own property. Next one. That is the right-of-way or the swale area in front of their property. That is not correct. If that should happen, a code officer will most likely visit the homeowner and just ask them to place it on the other side of their property, to be on their property. And that is the end of the presentation.
Well, thank you.
Quick. So, right, that was what.
Question.
Yes.
No, I'm
No
just
questions.
Right. The
got a
time
comment.
granted for compliance, the manager, Mr. Manager, is usually it's 7 days after we talk to a candidate, get to speak to a candidate, and let them know you have X amount of time. If they ask for an extra day, are we going to grant it? Yes, we're going to grant 1 extra day. If there is no compliance after that, then we send the notice of violation. After they receive the notice of violation, as per our process has been, as long as I have been in the code division, has been, if they exceed the time on the notice of violation, after they have received it, the sign is removed by the city. Have we done that? Yes, we have. Have we done it on an incumbent? Yes, we have. Have we done it on a content, like a...
Yes, you have.
I have. So the signs are then removed, and then that amount for the cost of the sign is deducted from the bond. So it may seem from the point of complaint to the point of actual removal a very long period of time, but there are steps that we follow from contacting the candidate to issuing a notice of violation to then removal of the sign.
So I think that's really the most important slide here, which is some people call and they say, geez, I called and the sign is not gone. What happened? That's the slide. That's the all-telling slide about why the sign is still there. And so we just really wanted everybody to know that, because that's probably the biggest dispute is I had to move my sign, but that sign is still there.
Yeah.
Well, because if you moved and you complied, and because they got the call and a day or two later you went and you moved it, but the other person went through the system, their sign theoretically could still be up for a long time before it's been gone. So the only burden I think the staff has now is to log when the complaint came in, so that if you want to verify, geez, the complaint was recorded and now the clock has started ticking, I think that's fair for every candidate to ask for that, and I think we should be transparent in that process. But the whole complaint of, boy, that sign is still up there and it's illegal, I would just urge everybody again to understand that's really because we have a long process. It's not a zero tolerance, everything comes down immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Excuse me, but I'm trying to save you. You don't have the floor.
Oh, okay. I request the floor
Somebody
respectfully.
filed something against you. Okay, well, thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.
I'll just bring it up on the violation is issued, how you deliver it, how you serve it.
Normally, if we are able to have contact with the candidate, we will hand deliver the notice. If we are unable to hand deliver the notice, then we would go through the regular code process of certified and first-class mail.
Alrighty. Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you. Alrighty. Discussion directions for council. Business city manager.
Mayor, I'd just like to introduce a new member of our staff, our new Director of Customer Service, Catherine Demerit. Would you mind standing up, please? Catherine. Catherine has extensive experience in the customer service industry. She served as Customer Relations Manager with Bahamas Electricity Corporation for over 20 years, led her to the position of Director of Customer Service with Grand Bahama Power Company, where she has worked for the last 4 years. We welcome her. She started, today is her first day, so she jumped right in the deep end of the water by coming here, and we welcome her.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Comment to the mayor.
Listen, I want you to say a couple words. Somebody
Yeah.
give her a microphone. I want to hear that
That's-
accent.
I thought the same thing. She goes to the mic.
Calm down.
Good afternoon, or good evening,
Good
Mayor, Assistant Mayor, council members, the city staff. I want to say thank you for welcoming me to the director's position at Homestead Electric, and I appreciate the trust that you've placed in me and in affording me this opportunity to work with you. It's been an interesting transition from the Bahamas here, and I'm enjoying the process, and I hope that, not hope, but I know that I can bring something to the city of Homestead in terms of customer services based on my years of experience and the work that I've done in the past. I'm here and I'm available, so if anybody needs access to me, I'll be available to talk about anything that you have interest in. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to the city of Homestead. Sure, please, Ms. Faircloth.
Warm and cheerful greetings to you, and welcome to the city of Homestead. I understand there were 261 resumes and applications submitted, so you must be really good. And I'm sure that Vivian and our city manager went through the proper vetting process. So I'm excited about you coming to the city, and I look forward to meeting with you because I already requested a meeting, right, Vivian? Yeah, I look forward to working alongside of you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay. Richard? Okay. Councilman Shelley.
Thank you, Mayor. Just have two items. The first is I wanted to thank Councilwoman Patricia Faircloth McCormick for her hard work in bringing up the Mayor's Youth Council to the Florida League of Cities. It was nice to be at one of the events, and they actually had all the different youth councils from all across the state of Florida stand up and be recognized, and to see the city of Homestead's name was fantastic. But more importantly was that we probably had one of the farthest distances to go as a city, and we probably had one of the biggest groups of children or kids there for the Mayor's Youth Council. And so I know it was quite a daunting task to arrange for that and to coordinate all of that, and so I thank you for your efforts, and it really made the city of Homestead look good, so thank you very much. And then the second item I have is, I guess, is asking the city council or asking the city manager to look into some information, and that is that I've been contacted by a couple people now concerned about the effects that some of these brownouts with our firefighters are having on our services here in the city of Homestead. And as I understand the issue, it's that there are no, the overtime hours have exceeded the budget for this particular fiscal year. And so as a result, these rotating brownouts are occurring throughout our city. And my concern is the effect that it has there on the services provided to our residents, the response times for these types of emergencies. And so what I would ask is maybe to send a message to ask Miami-Dade County to find some monies to, at least through this fiscal year, be able to fully fund this fire department so that it doesn't affect the services here to our residents in the city of Homestead. And so I'd like to maybe, one, find out if there's any statistics that we can find as far as what the actual effect has been on the response times for this particular city, and then two, possibly draft a resolution for adoption and to sending to Miami-Dade County to show that we are concerned about that and about the services that are provided here in the city of Homestead.
And Councilman, I think I have something in my inbox from the chief, which I'll forward to you all on the data that he had promised.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Shelley. Councilman Williams. Councilman Maldonado.
Thank you, Mayor. In regards to Councilman Shelley, what you just asked, I know that, again, that was one of the discussion items that we had today and with the Miami-Dade League of Cities Budget Finance Committee. I have the information, and I can give you the card of the directors. All the directors were there meeting with us today, explaining the reason why we're having the brownouts and what their plan is for this fiscal year and what they're working on for the future. So I'll pass that information to staff and so that, we could get that answer directly. And I know that they're going to be disseminating that information as we continue the process, but they're still in the process of the budget, so that will come forward. We attended the Florida League of Cities this last week, and it was a great success. It's great to go up there and see and be a part of what the Florida League of Cities is doing, throughout the state, and they're always giving us the tools to become better elected officials. So we had a great turnout. Homestead is always well represented there. We're well known throughout the state. We all attended. It was a great event. Again, I echo my colleagues' regards to Councilman Patricia Farrakhan McCormick. My daughter was there, and she said that the best part of the whole trip was that she got to be in the same room with other elected officials from the city that she represents. So I know that went well. We had a little bit of an emergency, but it was good that we rallied together and we made sure it was a success. So my sentiments to you. You're doing a phenomenal job, and I'm glad to see that you're up here and doing what you're doing. At the last Thursday of the month, we're having our education committee meeting, so please, if you'd like to attend, it's at 4:30. It's being held at the city manager's office, City Hall. That's it for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Williams.
Mayor, no business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Councilman Wallman. Councilwoman Wallman.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Louder.
Let me do this. I wanted just to save my time tonight to talk about a meeting that was supposed to have been held this past Tuesday, and it was a budget meeting that Mayor Jimenez was to be at in the Florida City Chamber. So I wasn't notified until 4:30 that same afternoon that that particular meeting was canceled. And I was only notified from a friend of mine, and I'll say her name is Mayor Lerner from Pinecrest, and she had called me and said that the meeting had been canceled because he was in D.C. But people spoke. They spoke about the pet trust. They spoke. And some of the commissioners listened, some of the commissioners didn't. We have 2 commissioners that represent us here in the Homestead area. One listened, one didn't. And the meeting has been rescheduled for September 3rd. I urge you, I beg you to come out to represent and support our pet trust, but not only our pet trust, our libraries, and our firefighters and their stations. I know that the libraries now are cut back to I think only 3 or 4 being shut down, but it doesn't matter. If one is shut down, that's too many for me. So September 3rd at Florida City Hall at 6 o'clock, bring your signs, wear your shirts, do whatever you have to do, but make it known that either you agree or you disagree. And I happen to agree to save our libraries, our pets, and our fire stations. So, Mayor, thank you very much. And I hope all... Oh, Vice Mayor said make sure you wear a red shirt for the pet trust. I'm wearing a pink one that says I love dogs. But, because I was ready to go. I was ready to go Tuesday. And darn it, it got canceled. So anyway, I hope my colleagues will come there as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Faircloth McCormick.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, Florida League of Cities. It was interesting, right, Councilman Maldonado?
Oh, yes, always.
I'm so proud of the Mayor's Youth Council for attending the Florida League of Cities trip. They received so many compliments for their professionalism, their copious note-taking, and I checked their notes, their involvement in the discussions, and I'm so proud of them for really stepping up to the plate to strengthen their ability to lead in this city. I would also like to thank my colleagues for having my back, because one of our Mayor's Youth Council members had to be rushed to the emergency room. And everyone just rallied together to support me. I almost panicked, but my school site experience kicked into high gear, so that's a plus. Thank you, Dade County Public Schools. But I thank Councilman Shelley for allowing us to use his room to give her some rest. I thank Councilman Maldonado for jumping up and running behind me, and John Burgess and Judy Wallman. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Also, the mayor's town hall meeting. The mayor's youth council will be there in their red shirts, as they always do, to advocate for our animals in our library, so you can count on us for being there. And I would also like to invite you to We Care's Western fundraiser on September 13th, I believe. I've been working very closely with Kamitra Driver to raise funds for We Care. So if you have time in your very busy schedules, I invite all of you to come out and party with us in Western style. That's all.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Vice Mayor Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I, too, attended the League of Cities, and I would request that our management staff and our Parks Director, please make sure they follow up with Musco. I had some interesting conversations with them. They're a provider of lights, and we had, I talked to them probably for an hour about different ways to finance or different projects that we could all come together down here. One, to put their great product in our parks, and two, to make our parks even better, especially over there on the soccer fields. And they were very amicable and doing whatever we asked of them up there. So I think that we've made some great headway with them. So if we could just follow up with them and see, perhaps as we move into the new budget cycle, where everything would fall, and see what kind of numbers they're talking about. While I was there, I had the pleasure or the honor of being nominated and elected to the Florida League of Cities Board of Directors. So I'm honored to serve the city of Homestead on the state level. And if anybody has any concerns or ideas that I could take forward from the council up here, please don't be bashful about telling me them, because we need to do this as a group to help not just represent South Florida, but all of Florida as we move forward. So any ideas or suggestions or concerns, please make sure you share them with me. I have some good news. I had a great meeting today with one of our state legislators, and we have already submitted some forms and some language at the state level on getting on to a bill about the Homestead Miami Speedway tax issue that we encounter each and every year. I have both the Senate side and the House side ready to take legislation forward for us, and that will be happening starting at committee. I think the committees start to receive stuff towards the end of September, and they'll open up for hearings in November. So we have that going for us. So and these two legislators, or the one House representative and the one Senate, are great people to move forward with us, and have a lot of respect from their colleagues up in Tallahassee. So I think we've grabbed two very strong and respected people to help us march our issue that we have been fighting for. I know that I have been fighting diligently for it for 2 years, and you hit more stone walls there than you do open doors. But I think we've got some doors open with some great ideas, and I think we're going in the right direction. September 4th is a tourism committee meeting. If anybody's interested, we still have one opening for that. And then last but not least, yesterday, as we're coming upon the budget season, we're all looking for ways to help and do things and spend money or not spend money in that. And yesterday I received an invitation that quite frankly, I cannot support. And since it's the first day that I ever went to one, I wasn't quite sure about them. But we do the State of the City address every year, and I know that the numbers have grown tremendously each and every year. And I have an idea that that money could be much better used by the city. And an example was tonight with the school board. If we would just take the money that we spend there every year and hire a local lobbyist that could work directly with the school boards or the county level of the county commissioners and the county mayor and all the departments down there, I think the city would come out much further ahead than they do by spending $25,000 plus on an evening's dinner for a lot of people that aren't even residents. So I know, Mayor, that it has been a tradition for years and years and years, but as I look at the budget, and our budget shrinks every year and becomes tighter and tighter, I just look at things that to me show extravagance, and I can't support them, nor will I support them. So that's why I proffer the idea of what to do with the money is to help us hire a lobbying firm that would take it to the next level for us, because I think we have a lot of opportunities that we missed down there, a lot of miscommunications that don't get shared with us down here at this end of the county, unfortunately, or monies that may be there, and then all of a sudden we've got to do a rush decision up here because they were sitting there and we weren't aware that there was a time limit or whatever. And so I just think there's a lot of other things we could do with monies other than have an extravagant evening out. And with that, I'll say thank you.
Okay, thank you. And just in response to that, I truly believe that is an evening now for our citizens. And if you look at the list in the last 3 years since I've been mayor, you see about 75% of those Miami lobbyists, no disrespect, attorneys, etc., engineers have been taken off the list, and local citizens have been placed on the list. And the last State of the City was the biggest hit that I've seen in my time of living here in Homestead. Close to 500 people that got to interact with their council. It is probably by far the biggest town hall gathering you'll ever put together, and you get that opportunity to sell and pitch what this council has accomplished for that year. And every year for the last 3 years has been a tremendous year. So I respect your one opinion, but that's not something that I would support at all. So with that said, I'll move forward because Save the Date has already been sent out, and the date is out there in about 1,000 people's hands. Amen. Okay, I got the floor now. All right. Mrs. Waldman, you don't know, but you've already gone to work on the libraries, because I can tell you today, Assistant Manager David Eber and I sat with Raymond Santiago, who is a director of the Miami-Dade County Public Library System. And I received the letter back at the very end of July. I did not want to bring it up until I had a chance to meet with Mr. Santiago. We sat today, and I'll tell you good news. No hours will be cut from the library, from Homestead's library. There will be some staff reduction, but 5 days a week, the same hours will be the operation hours for Homestead Library. So that's a win-win for Homestead, because there are some libraries that are being cut back.
Volunteers.
Are closed.
How many now?
Yeah. One's a
Down from 22
one's a
down
key.
to
I'm
4.
sorry, Mayor. One's a kiosk, and then 3 storefronts up in 152nd area, that west side of Kendall. So 1
Right.
kiosk, 3 storefronts.
Okay. And also, what I would like to do is just take a minute and allow the city clerk to talk a little bit about the campaign skills seminar that she has worked so hard to bring way south. Typically, it doesn't happen in Homestead, Florida City, but she has made it happen. So just a brief comment, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to let you know that we're having a campaign skills seminar scheduled for September.
Take that mic. There you go.
Okay, we're having a campaign skills seminar scheduled for September 4th at 6:30 p.m. It will be here at the Community Center. It's been facilitated by the Miami-Dade County Ethics Commission and Miami-Dade County Elections Department. They will be here with us on that evening.
Do you think Mr. Santorino himself will be down?
Mm.
No, I welcome him. I would like for him to come down.
And
You don't know.
he will be here.
Oh, he will be. Oh, awesome.
He will be here.
Excellent. Excellent.
He will be here
Okay,
to-
so mark the calendar. That's
to
a
represent the
that's a-
election.
that's an opportunity.
Ethics Commission. Okay.
I'm bending.
This is for anyone who is interested in running for office, or your campaign managers, your campaign treasurers. It's for anyone who is interested in
That's
running
only-
a campaign to attend. And the public is also invited.
Okay, don't put that mic down yet, because the city clerk has been very successful and putting together and reworking, relocating different polling places that, to me, is going to make life so much easier. And I know that Ms. Fairclough McCormick is going to be very happy with your latest accomplishment. So Can you run through that?
This week, we received word from Miami-Dade County Elections Department that the October 1st election, we will have a polling place at Oasis Clubhouse.
It's a tremendous parking, easy in, easy out. It's their own area. Oasis will have their own polling location, so.
They were going before with the Keys Gate and the Villages. So it will take some of the pressure off of those two polling places.
From yours.
Qualifying is next week. Next week, August 26th through August 30th. It ends next Friday. It starts on Monday.
But the early voting that we used to have at the old City Hall in the
Early
chambers, will
voting
that be
will
here?
have to be at the library.
At the library.
It's
Okay.
still, the law does not come into effect until January for us to do it here.
Okay.
So we had to stay with the library.
Okay, because I had had people ask me. Thank you.
And curiosity, and I wish I had the precinct on top of my head, but Sky Vista, do you know where they vote this time?
Sky Vista will be voting at the YMCA.
Very good. Had tremendous amount of concerns in the last election over that particular neighborhood, that they were driving so far to a polling place. So excellent job. Great job. I think you've got it all balanced out, and I think it's going to be fair and equitable for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've got a couple appointments tonight. Thank you. This is the appointment that should have been done probably a couple months ago, and that is the appointment to Mayor's Community Policing and Crime Watch Committee. Granada Estates, Terry Lytle, Conrad Thompson, Keys Cove, Thelma Martinez, Oasis, Lori Wells, Northgate, Claire Waterman Powell, Keys Gate, Bonnie King Moran.
Move them.
Thank you. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, one other appointment here is an open seat on the Planning and Zoning Board, which we had advertised, and I would like to offer up Kevin Miles. Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Move it. All right, all in favor? All in favor? All right. Nays?
Nay.
Okay, item carries. One last item, let's announce now today to the community, there's an open seat on the Homestead Housing Board. So if you're interested, please contact the city clerk. With that said, that concludes my items for the night. So I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting, which is long overdue. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, staff.